So, good morning and welcome to 65 Tech Lab. Some of you may know me from our sister company, 65 Beauty or 65 Men's Clinic, and that's where we've been bringing treatments to you, showing you what we can achieve. This particular part of our business is for aesthetics clinics or medical clinics. Obviously, if you're a patient and you want to stay and have a listen, then great. But obviously, 65 Beauty takes care of that side of it. So 65 Tech is all about automating what goes on behind the aesthetics clinic. And we are a South Korean wholesaler. So we bring products over from the manufacturers in South Korea, and we're able to train you and supply those products to your clinic. But it goes beyond that now. We have written software tools that sit behind the scenes that can do everything from take patients' bookings to their emails, to outward bound calls for maybe aftercare, all the way through to a fully working back office that understands how you work. One of the projects that we've just finished is actually these cameras, and what we used to do is we would have our appointments during the day, and then at the end of each appointment, the nurses would try and update their notes for the patient. But you know what it's like, back to back appointments, or things get forgotten, so it then gets pushed to lunchtime. For the morning patient, still doesn't happen. Then it gets pushed to the evening, and before you know it, you're 2 or 3 days behind, and you've got a huge amount of notes to do. So what we've written is some software that sits behind the scenes. We record every treatment that we do, and we do that for lots of reasons: for our safety, the patient's safety, also for any unbiased complaint. We can go back and look at the footage. Patients have access to this as much as we do. Everyone knows we're doing it. We won't do a consultation without it, and we have done that for a number of years. So what we've done, we've written some software. So what this does is at the end of each day, the AI takes all of the video footage and downloads it from the camera. It then goes onto our clinical software. Now we're using Clinico. It could be any clinical software that you use. It then goes on to our clinic software. It finds that patient. It takes the notes off the video. It only deals with the medical notes. It doesn't have any chit chat in it, or house football, or any personal stuff. And it then puts that medical note onto the patient's file. So we get 100% accurate notes instantly after each appointment. And that's the sort of thing we're talking about. Other things that we've automated in the clinic. We have obviously a receptionist that works here during office hours, but then if she's busy, we have an AI one that takes over. Again, that's linked to our clinical software. So if a patient calls, the AI agent knows all about her or him, knows what sort of treatments that she's likely to ask for, and will make life really easy to get that patient from telephone calls through to booking. It will also take the deposit, which is just fantastic. Another client that we've written looks after our memberships. So we have a couple of memberships which we would love to talk to the clinics about. So we've got the Botox Club, and we've got the Cashback Club. And again, that's all taken care of by AI. It makes sure that the direct debits have gone through. It credits the account for the patient, and then watches how they spend. All of our aftercare notes are done electronically now via the agents, who will make sure that the patient understands what pre and post they should do for treatment. So that's where we are. We've called it Agent Networks, and it's now up and running. This is the first live of many. You'll be seeing posts on Meta, so on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok going forward, which are all automated. So the agents have written their plan, they've written their content, they've got them produced their videos or their pictures, and then they've uploaded it to TikTok and or Meta and Facebook. If you follow us on X or on LinkedIn, you'll have already seen this happening over the last 6 weeks, but we're just about to launch that module. The dashboard above is the one that I use. So that's the one I have on my computer. And what that gives me is an amalgamation of all the data from all of the systems that 65 Beauty run. And that's the sort of thing that we can give you in return. So this is the first one. We're going to be live on many occasions. We're also going to be showcasing some treatments here, but coming from an aesthetics point of view, from the clinic's point of view, rather than the patient. If you're interested as a patient, if you nip over and see 65 Beauty, then they're the people that will do that for you. So, have we got any questions? Are there anyone in here that runs an aesthetics clinic, a doctor's? But also, although we are an aesthetics company and we've written the software for aesthetics, it's general. So if you're a builder or a plumber and you're really struggling with all the paperwork and admin, then these systems can work for you as well. It's just obviously we're coming from a technical bias of clinics, but we've produced it for eyebrows, we've produced it for a plumber, a cafe, a restaurant, even a mid-sized dentist. So it doesn't really have to be medical, but obviously this particular live is all about that. I need some water. Just bear with me a second. Can I have some water? Sorry, I've got a dry mouth. So that's what we're talking about. I would love anyone to come on and give me a business problem, and I'll tell you how it gets solved. The thing is, when people think about AI, most people think about ChatGPT or Claude or that ability to type in. Some people might even be using it to rewrite their emails or rewrite a report, but this is not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is, rather than employing people behind the scenes, we can effectively have as many people working for us as we want. So as a clinic or as a builder or as a doctor's or a dentist, imagine the ability to employ 20 staff. So at 65 Beauty, we've got 27 agents working for us, 24/7. Oh, Bina's on. She's stuck in traffic. Bina, no problems. So we have these 27 agents working for us, and they're doing lots of stuff. So, for example, we have one agent that does all of the aftercare for us. Now, if you're a builder, that could be chasing up your quotes, I don't know, to see if they want something. We have another agent that does all of the back office stuff. So it does all the finance. It deals with Xero for us. It takes our credit card actions and then moves that into Xero. So whatever you can imagine and whatever as a business owner you would normally employ someone to do, this is what these agents can do. They are not bots, they're not chatbots, they're not robobots or any of that stuff, which are still very dumb AI models. What this is a self-learning, self-developing employee that just happens to be in a tin rather than in skin and flesh. But literally, if we look at the agent that looks after our cameras for our note-taking, that's all he does, that's all she does. We call her Jojo, and what Jojo does is constantly take the streams from the cameras from each of the nurses, then look for the patients in the clinical software, match the notes from the video to the patient, get rid of all the chit chat, get rid of all the non-medical stuff, and then post it. Imagine how much time that saves our nurses. So what it means is that we can then increase more appointments, we can have smaller gaps because we're not writing notes. Now, again, as I said, although we're coming from an aesthetics position, that could easily be the same thing a builder does. I don't know, maybe a builder's on site and he needs to capture what materials he needs, then obviously the camera could capture all of that, and then AI would produce the quote based on what it sees. So it's like having your personal assistant on your desktop. We're in partnership with the manufacturers of this particular camera. It's used by Audi and some of the big multinational companies, and it's not dear. Works out about £30 a go, and can be used. Okay, yeah. So it can be used. It can be used by builders. It could be used by anyone really. We shouldn't be using AI. It's ruining the environment. You know what? That's a really good point. And I don't know who that is. I can't see what your name is. Look, I'm 58, so at the end where I shouldn't be heavily involved in AI, but I am. And uh, I I'm not sure it's ruining the environment any more than the Tesla cars that are running around the world or doing anything at all. You know, yes, there is a huge amount of computing power and a huge amount of energy used to control these banks. Um, but so's driving cars around and everything else. Where do you stop? Certainly, as a UK person, what we do is irrelevant. You know, China needs to change their ways, America needs to change their ways. What can we honestly do as a little island? However, I do get the thought of what happens to employees. Now, we have employees, you can see two behind us now, and these ladies, they do the traditional administration work in a clinic. So Mandy there in the forefront, she's the receptionist, so she looks after the phones and patients coming in and coming out. She does all of the credit card stuff. Now, we're not replacing her, not at all. What we're doing, we're taking some of the mundane processes off her, which gives her time to do more stuff that AI can't do. So making judgment calls and stuff like that. And at first, when we introduced all these into 65 Beauty, Mandy was the first to be a little bit frightened and scared, because it was like, what, you're going to replace me with a robot? And the answer is no. However, let's take another scenario that maybe we weren't as big as 65 Beauty, and I was just starting out. Now, I have started out on my own, and I understand how difficult it is. So you've got to make appointments, you've got to do all your aftercare, you've got to do the treatments themselves, you've got to do the accounting system, you've got to do everything. And I think this is what this out of the box for aesthetics is going to be for, where you can effectively buy this product. If you have a look at agentnetworks.co.uk, you'll see what I'm talking about. You buy this product, and out of there you can have a receptionist, you can have an aftercare specialist, you can have an accountant, you can have an admin person. And I think that is really where I wish I'd had this when I was starting out 20 years ago. For now, it's easy for me to take it for granted that a member of staff will make sure the forms are signed and make sure they're correct. I take it for granted that someone will make me a cup of tea or bring my lunch in at 1 o'clock. But as a sole trader, you just don't have that luxury. And these tools are designed with you in mind. We're going to be launching in the next 24 hours, 48 hours, the ability for an agent to come into your business. It will look at your business. So it will spend a week looking at everything about your business. So this might sound a bit scary, but if you bear with me, so what the agent will do is it will look at your website, it will look at all of your communications, it will look at all your computer files, it will interview all of your staff and come up with plans every day about how you can make subtle changes to either increase revenue, save money, or be more efficient. And we ran this on 65 Beauty. First few days, nothing special. The odd, why don't you change this aftercare to this? Why don't you do that to that? Nothing special. Where we are now, 3 months on, and every day it is delivering new ideas, how to stay above the curve, how to stay relevant, and how to stay fresh. And in fact, one of the things that I asked it was, how could you automate the rest of my business? So I didn't even have to think about that. So the agents spoke to themselves, they debated different areas of 65 Beauty, and then they produced a plan to tell me where I should be implementing what and when. Really exciting stuff. Let's have a quick chat before we close on other things that we do. We can help you with CQC. So we have CQC out of the box, where we will umbrella you and then get your own registration done. We also have training, masterclasses and full training, whether you're new to aesthetics or you want some masterclasses, you want to introduce threads or something like that. And also we have our wholesale. So all of the products that we buy directly from the manufacturer in South Korea. So we cut out Wigmore, we cut out Revolut, and all these other people that you might be buying your products from, and we buy it straight from the source. They're all CE and FDA approved, and we can supply those to you, and you are going to be incredibly excited by the type of products that they have got there. So yeah, have a look at 65beauty.co.uk. There's an area for clinics and for clinics only. And then if you go to Agent Networks, that's where all the automation is. So that's our first live. We'll get this cut up and stuck on our thing, and then we'll get going. Right, thanks for your attention.